Thug Jitsu Master and the Squid. Thug Jitsu Master and the Squid. Thug Jitsu Master and the Squid.
Yeah.
I like how the smoke was like.
Because I was smoking. Show is brought to you by High Rollers and all the other marijuana companies that like us. Master
Chief
Master Chief. Yeah.
in the world.
Smoked Honey.
Smoked honey.
They've all helped us along the way.
Yeah.
They've all helped us along the way. The power of cannabis has brought us here today for another episode of Thug Jitsu Master and Squid Show.
With the Thug Jitsu Master and the Squid.
Correct. On the pretty much the eve of UFC 248, one of the most anticipated middleweight bouts in a long time. Yoel Romero and Israel Adesanya.
I like that fight. I like that fight a lot. It's a classic style matchup too, but like Yoel Romero isn't the kind of guy to come out and just try to wrestle you. And I think that could be his downfall, man. Adesanya is a clean striker. He's accurate. He keeps his eyes on the target. Even if you hit him in the middle of a combination, he gets his eyes back to zero. And he's looking for his shots. He's trying to pick his shots. Yoel is powerful, explosive, really good wrestler, world class, probably the most elite wrestler in the game, most credentialed wrestler in the game.
Yep, four-time world champion.
Powerful, explosive. I really don't think anybody can compete with him when you really factor in the wrestling. But like everyone else that gets into MMA, he's doing all these. He's into the striking. He loves knocking people out. Like it's probably the best feeling in the world, man. As a guy with a couple knockouts, I'll tell you that. That's one of the best feelings in the world, to knock somebody out. And he's a powerful, explosive guy. So I don't know if he's going to lean on his wrestling like I think he should in this fight. I want Adesanya to win. Adesanya, he's a character. I think he's good for the sport. I think this fight will help blow up his brand even more. I think this is a really good fight for him. I think this is the fight to take before the Paulo Costa fight. Get used to that size and strength, and better wrestling. I think it's evident Yoel is a better wrestler than pretty much everyone in the division. But there's not a whole lot of guys built like him and Paulo Costa in that weight class, and they're both powerful guys. I think Adesanya is the better striker out of the three of them, but getting used to that power, getting used to feeling that strength, or at least feeling it inside that environment one time, is a good prerequisite to that fight for Adesanya.
It is. It's a good prerequisite. Those are both two very, very muscular guys. I look at this fight as a bit of a video game fight. We have guys that do things that don't even look like they're believable. The way Yoel flies across the cage and fast like a cat, and he doesn't look real. He looks 1,000% anabolic, but moves like a gazelle.
Yeah.
And is so fast and dynamic, and looks like a very, very hard guy to put away. And then on the other side, Adesanya looks great. Looks great. But we haven't seen anybody hurt Yoel in a long, long time. It's been almost 10 years since we've seen Yoel really hurt.
Yeah, really hurt. But we've seen him in some tough fights, like the fights with Whitaker.
Yeah.
Like we've seen some instances in those fights where he looked. It was obvious that he was losing. He looked to be in a bit of trouble, or at least having some problems. And I think that's what standing in front of Adesanya can get you. He keeps his hands low. He's fast, but so is Adesanya, and he's used to those little tells, those slight movements in your body, a slight motion. He's seen them so many times. As soon as your hips moves, he has a really good idea of what's coming. And I feel like him being the more experienced striker, he will have more than just a really good idea. I think he will know what's coming at most times, be able to get out of the way. But again, Romero is so explosive and fast. You can't count him out. I say Adesanya should be the favorite going in. I put him as the favorite. I don't know what the odds say, but I believe that's what it should be. But you just can't count Yoel Romero out, especially with that wrestling background and going into a fight against primarily a kickboxer.
So odds are right now, Adesanya's minus 275 favorite. So yeah, that's a pretty big favorite.
Odds on Romero?
Plus 235.
That
it's good.
I'd be willing to lose $100 for that.
It's not a bad bet. It's definitely a worse bet to go on Romero, because that would mean if you put $275 up, you're only getting $100 back. So that's a big risk, because we did see me and you were there in Atlanta when Israel Adesanya won the interim title, and that was a very similar fight to I think you might see in this. When I'm talking about the Kelvin Gastelum bout. You have a guy that can strike and wrestle, but now you have a guy even more jacked and can even more wrestle. And that fight was razor thin. And that fight showed me that I kind of lean towards Romero in some of those instances. I'm curious to see Adesanya when he really if he gets taken down. I'm curious if Romero is going to push the wrestling, because nobody has really pushed the wrestling. Some guys like to try to strike with him. I would like to see how does Adesanya deal with a really good grappler on top of him, controlling him. What's his legit ground game like? Can he get out of side control? Can he get back up? Is he going to get ragdoll? Will he not waste energy trying to get up? I'm very curious to see, because the fight was super close with Kelvin Gastelum and Adesanya, but we didn't see Gastelum wrestle as much as probably should have. Or as I probably would have told him if I was his coach.
I think the fight was close. I don't feel like it's so similar, because I feel like Kelvin Gastelum, his fight IQ, he fights a lot smarter than most guys. Yep. He has a very high fight IQ, and I feel like he was the toughest fight for Israel Adesanya inside the cage, so inside the octagon so far. I feel like Yoel Romero, his fight IQ isn't low, but he doesn't always use the best technical knowledge inside the cage. He relies on his power and his explosiveness a lot, and I feel like that's where the fights start to become kind of similar as far as level of competition. But I just think the fight IQ of Kelvin Gastelum has been shown to be better inside the octagon. And then what you said about the wrestling, nobody's really pushed that against Adesanya, but has that been because the times that they have just seems that it's a bad thing to do, that he's really competent in that area? Because what happens a lot of times is, like, the formula for MMA is to make the striker comfortable with his striking and then change the game. But what happens a lot of times, or the flip side of that, is when you start letting the striker get comfortable in striking, and then you take a shot, you start to get uncomfortable in the striking, and your confidence is not the same. You take a bad shot, you get stuffed, and now the striker's confidence gets higher, gets stronger, and it becomes harder to take him down, because he's going to be a little more loose. And confidence is everything inside a fight, man. All the training, everything that you've done in the gym, those things factor in. But once the fight starts and two guys are in there butting heads against each other, where the confidence lies is kind of who's going to win that fight.
Yeah, we haven't really seen people even try many takedowns on him in quite a while. Let's look at some stats here.
I feel like Brunson was the last guy to really try to take him down early, and that didn't go well for him.
He didn't get any. Brad Tavares got one takedown. Marvin Vettori got two. And then in Adesanya's debut, he got taken down 3 times. But has not been taken down. He got taken down once by Gastelum, and nothing really happened on that takedown.
I did a poll for this fight yesterday on my Instagram, and I believe it was 64% for Adesanya and 30 36% for Romero. Yeah, it was 66 to 34%. And I feel like that's kind of how I feel about this fight. I do feel like Adesanya should be the favorite, and I feel confident in him winning.
Yep.
But should Yoel Romero pull this one off, I wouldn't be completely surprised because of that pedigree, because of that power, because of that explosiveness. But he's got to be smart about it, and he's got to use those things at the right time effectively. I believe that he has to kind of go Khabib on this one to ensure himself a victory where he relies heavily on his wrestling and not try to make this a striking match or try to draw Israel Adesanya into feeling comfortable and planting his feet.
Yeah, I feel like we don't see enough guys go to the Khabib mentality like that. I fought like that. And I feel like a lot of guys did that back in the day, with like wrestlers came into the sport and
Mark Kerr,
they give you wrestling. They give you wrestling. They're not trying to show they learned anything. They're gonna try to block your punches. Take takedown. Like that's it. They're gonna find their opportunity. They're gonna bait you into a little bit of, or just go after it. Just no ifs, ands, or buts. And when those guys you mentioned, Kerr, Randleman, Romero could be the same dude if he embraced that style. He has the wrestling pedigree to do it. He could put guys on their butts. I would love to see a resurgence of that style with certain guys. Certain guys can do it. So too many guys come into the sport trying to do a little bit of everything. He's got the ability to put people on their butt. He beat Cael Sanderson. All the people that got Cael Sanderson posters on their wall growing up, he beat that guy.
They don't have his poster on the wall.
Nah, they didn't have any posters. It was like drawings. It was primitive drawings of, this guy.
Yeah, it looks like
they had no printers down there in Cuba, man. They're busy wrestling. Government's controlling the whole sports teams, man. Get to training. Drink your electrolytes. Make sure you have your drinks, guys. And we're gonna do a little blood test, and it's gonna text your levels. Gonna make sure you guys are firing on all cylinders. Yeah, I did. That's how you create super athletes.
Romero is a super athlete. I think
he's out of an X-Men comic. That's how people that made Sentinels and stuff would train. That's how you make a Sentinel.
Only the nerds are gonna get that one.
Yeah.
The thing about Khabib and Israel, though, they came in with this pedigree in their particular sport. Khabib and Sambo and combat wrestling and combat Sambo, and Israel in kickboxing, and they're able to rely on that sport. You see a lot of guys coming to MMA, and they're so concerned with the other aspects of it, with the takedowns. Good kickboxers like Gokhan Saki, get knocked out because he's buying into the takedowns. He wants to defend the takedowns, but a guy like Israel, he's been comfortable in there, getting back to his feet, defending some takedowns. And I don't know. I guess that credit should go to the guys at City Boxing, to the coaches, trainers, and teammates that he has, because he does not look uncomfortable. His striking does not change so much that when he's concerned about the takedown and defending the takedown, his hands drop real low, or he's susceptible to falling for the takedown feints, to getting his hands low so he can get hit with the big shots. And he doesn't back off a lot of times when a striker's fighting a wrestler. They're a little tentative. They're not as aggressive offensively, and they're waiting and waiting and waiting, and that also speaks to your confidence. That also affects your confidence in ways where you aren't so much confident or so much offensive in your confidence, so you don't go out there and put pressure on the opponent and get them backing up. A kickboxer is the guy who has to be offensive, but so is the wrestler. And that's why this fight intrigues me, because if Yoel Romero wants to get comfortable, he has the power, but I don't think he's going to make Adesanya afraid of his hands, be afraid on his feet. He's got to affect some wrestling to get Israel to be concerned about where Yoel can win this fight.
Yeah, that's 100% correctly said. I believe it's got to be the wrestling. If we don't see Yoel wrestling in that first round, you know what type of fight you're gonna get. You know what type of fight you're gonna get a bit of a dog fight, but Adesanya's gonna pick him apart. Adesanya's probably gonna pick him apart.
And if that should happen, he's probably gonna finish him in the fourth.
Probably gonna finish him. He's gonna be taking too many because of the way Romero comes in. He's susceptible to getting cracked and countered. He comes in way too explosively, and how smooth Adesanya is in those moves, he can make Romero look real dumb. So I think Romero should look real smart by wrestling, pushing the takedown, trying to get the size. Yeah, I think that's his best opportunity. Make it a wrestling match for a little bit of a while. Then maybe the striking opens up on the feet. Couple feints.
Scare him with that power. Get him leaning back and leaving that leg out there, because I believe once Yoel Romero gets a hold of something, and he could chain wrestle anybody to the ground.
Yep, and he can throw you. He'll try. He tries to throw these crazy ass throws, man. They're crazy. He'll try to rip you. One of my favorite part about this is Yoel Romero is so if you go like the richest fighters currently fighting in MMA, you got probably Conor McGregor, and you got Yoel Romero like number 2. You got Yoel Romero just like right there, like I'm doing this too. I got 30 million in a lawsuit. He's got it all. So it's wild to know that someone that just got all this money, still probably getting paid millions of dollars a year by the UFC, still got the drive to try to be a champion, and still got the drive to be that nasty guy. You can't take that out of that guy. That's forever in him.
Question: does he have that drive?
I think in that Paulo Costa fight, I thought he did. I think he has no reason to be in this type of fight, and shows every bit of Yoel Romero I've ever seen in that fight, where I'm like, guy's got all this money in the world, and like 10 weeks later goes and fights like this. Like, where do you get the motivation to fight like that? It's forever built in that guy.
I would have liked to see more explosive wrestling in that fight, though.
Yeah,
he did take Costa down, a beautiful double at the end of the second, but with a blast double, just ran him across the cage, and I would have liked to have seen more of that in that fight. And I think when we talk about the attitude of being, wanting to be a world champion again, again, a different sport, but wanting to be a world champion. When you don't rely on what brought you to the dance, it's like, do you just want to fight and have fun? And should you come upon a title belt, like, is that just like happenstance, or are you going to like I said, like with Khabib? Khabib relies on his wrestling because he wants to be the best in the world.
Yep.
So does Yoel? I know everybody wants to be a champion. Everybody in the UFC wants to be champion, but is he focused enough? Is he focused on what he has to do to be champion, to become a champion inside the UFC? Because striking with some of these guys at 185 who've been doing it for so much longer than him, and not relying on the wrestling resume that he has, the strength that he really has, like that, I don't think that's going to help him. So what's he going to do? Like that's really, like I said, that's what intrigues me about this fight. And it's classic, man. Striker versus kickboxer. This is Pedro Hizo and Kevin Randleman, We all know
how that fight ended. We all know how that fight ended. It's a good fight.
So yeah, it's one of those. I want to see how this turns out. I like both these guys again. Teammates with Yoel Romero over time. I really like the guy, but I also like Israel, and I pick him to win this one.
Could be one of the great fights. It could. We've seen it from Adesanya. We've seen the fights with Whitaker, Romero. It could turn into one of those amazing fights. If the fight gods bless us with a good fight, could be legendary.
But what does this do for Adesanya? He wins this fight.
I think it does for me as a fight fan. It does legitimize his reign in the middleweight division, just because of the path he took to get there. Wasn't felt a little faster than it. Like I felt like he might have cut the line a little bit at some point.
I think he cut the line, but he cut the line because of what he's doing in there. I mean, this is sports entertainment. We know that's what the UFC is. It's not necessarily about where you're ranked and who's going to get the fights, but he proved.
But when did he prove it though? Because he had the couple like the fights to start. He won a split decision in his second fight, a decision in his third fight. Gets the TKO over Brunson, huge. Fights Anderson Silva in somewhat of a retirement bout. I was like looked like a exhibition. Looked like Tenshin Nasukawa, Floyd Mayweather out there, just trying to.
I would say it didn't look that bad.
It had the feeling of it that where it was like it felt like a ceremony.
It was ceremonial.
It felt ceremonious. And then he got the fight of a Gaslam. So for me, I was like, and that was a title fight. It felt a little fast for me because I was like, huh. I was like, why didn't there's some other guys in this middle of the division that I would have probably liked to see. So for me, it's the must fight to make before anybody talks about any super fights or anything of that nature. People are really clamoring for the John Jones Israel Adesanya fight.
That's a fun fight to think about, but I think there are a couple more fights for him at 185. Paulo Costa fight is definitely one that comes to mind.
That's the other one. Before you leave the division, you have to beat Romero. You have to beat Costa.
Yeah.
When you do that, okay, you did it. You beat Anderson Silva. You beat Brunson. You beat Gastelum. All right, you did it. Gastelum beat Bisping. It's a whole. Yeah, it legitimizes it for me. It legitimizes it for me. Then go fight John Jones. Then go up a division. I'm fine with that.
I read something where his coaches were talking about him moving up to heavyweight before even fighting John Jones, and I don't like the idea of that. That's not.
As a fight fan, I like. As a former fighter, I say it's probably stupid because there's some big boys up there.
There's some really big boys, and like Stipe Miocic, that wrestling. I mean, that's a lot of weight, and Israel isn't a thick guy. You know,
you would hope Stipe would push the wrestling on that fight. If Stipe stepped in the pocket for a second, you're flipping the coin. You're flipping the coin right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're flipping the coin, even if he's smaller. You're flipping the coin by stepping into the box. Don't step into the box. If you pass right through the box, hit that takedown.
But I would really like to see Israel is showing confidence and improvement in his MMA game, and I would like to see what his wrestling looks like at this level of the game against somebody like Romero. So I'm looking forward to that. I do want him to win this one, and I do want to see the Paulo Costa fight next very soon, should he win this one.
Got it.
That's what I want.
Sorry, I was sending a message to my coworker.
What else we got? What else we got?
So it's actually a pretty good fight card. Feels like somewhat of a UFC trying to make up for some of the last ways they stacked the fight cards recently. Not giving as many bangers as I would like. If we work
I like Zhang Weili and Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight.
Casual fight fans don't realize that could be one of the best female fights ever. That could really turn into quite a war. Quite a war.
Yeah, and Joanna facing, the new champion, former champion, facing a new champion. To me, this, what I've said before about Joanna being the bar and everybody looking, like really working to get to her and defeat her, was Zhang Weili one of those girls who was looking at Joanna as the bar, and that was the skill set she was trying to develop, or the person she was really aiming to beat? Because the belt changed hands a couple of times since Joanna had it. So is this going to be somebody again where Joanna could come in and pick her apart and win this one, or is Zhang Weili going to be able to shut her down, use that power? She hits hard, but can she hit Joanna?
Yeah.
She's a powerful, strong girl.
Can she sustain that Joanna pace too?
Yeah.
That Joanna pace is something different. It reminds me of an old Jose Aldo and stuff. Just a lot of leg kicks. Lot of leg kicks. You gotta be up on her toes and stuff. But I didn't mean to bring up Jose Aldo, but sorry. I know it's the last episode. We didn't want to talk about him. No, I'm kidding. So that's the co-main event. That's the women's strawweight championship. 20-1, Weili Zhang. 16-3, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. The numbers all kind of match up. Joanna's got a 1.5-inch height advantage. 2.5-inch reach advantage. Weili's 30, Joanna's 32. So yeah, it makes for a good fight. Like I mentioned on the last episode, I think this is a nice coming out for Weili to be on a pay-per-view, because when she won her title, it was middle of the morning. It was on a UFC fight night. It was so quick. It was 40 seconds. So she was bam, bam, in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, but what does this do for her stock? She gets a win over Joanna on this card. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this card, and like you said, not a lot of people know Weili. So, getting a stoppage over Joanna, like, her star shoots up. I guarantee you. Look at her follower count right now. It's probably high because she probably has a huge following in China. But well, that's the other thing. I don't know if there are any metrics you can look at and where her followers are from, but I guarantee you she gets a stoppage over Joanna, and those numbers are going to really go up on the U.S. followers.
Yeah, you hope so. But finally, something good for China, right? Isn't that nice, right? Something to make you forget the C word. Yeah.
China?
Coronavirus. Coronavirus. That's one good. Let's get some positivity towards China.
If I was a Chinese fighter, that would be my fight nickname right now.
The coronavirus killer, Jessica Andrade. That's it right there.
Bruce Buffer announced me as that. I'd be like, and fighting out of Macau, China, the coronavirus. Achoo!
What? Boo! But you can't even. Everyone's got their masks on, so it's like horrible boos. They're all muffled. The whole crowd's got masks. It's real weird. Oh, this actually makes a nice little segue. So you hear about One Championship doing their quiet event?
No, a quiet event.
So they made a schedule for this year that they want to stick to, but they have fights in Asia, so they're doing their events privately. The fighters come in, no audience, and they did one last weekend. It was interesting. It was somber, very somber room.
Yeah, I can imagine. It sounds like kind of like the Contenders or Tough Fights.
Exactly. It felt very much like a Tough Fight. Like when a coach yelled something out, you hear it. Okay, I hear that perfectly.
Like pride.
Hear that. Yeah, the crowd just quiet. Yeah, it's packed. 100,000 people there. No one's saying shit. Nobody's saying shit.
Yeah. So what? Were there? So there was simply just the fighters. There was no audience.
No audience.
But it was broadcast live.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, for them, it totally makes sense. Because
you don't want to have a bunch of people in the same room because of the coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, that for sure. Yes. B, their distribution deals are pretty big. They have pretty good distribution outlets into different countries and syndications all through Asia. So their money comes from the eyeballs that aren't even in the room. They're likely giving away half of those tickets for One Championship anyway, and just fill in the crowd, make you an extra, and you're in the background, because their stuff makes it all the way to here. It's on TNT, Bleacher Report, it's on Pluto TV, it's on all sorts of outlets where they're trying to make money. So for them, they got to keep making that content, keep progressing their divisions and weight classes, and not stay stagnant, and still be one of those companies out there that can still be thriving. They just throw these events privately, and probably a lot of hand sanitizer, and I dig it. Hey, if there's a will, there's a way.
I wonder if the ref uses hand sanitizer.
When he stops to fight, he doesn't want to touch them. He's like, break up. Can't touch you. He has like a stick. Yeah,
Fight!
He's got like a hand on a thing. Yeah.
But so that's what's going on with one. What else is going on in Asia right now with some of the fight organizations? Anything big?
In Asia, no. Everyone.
When's the next Rising?
Ryzen did one not too long ago. I assume that they're completely stopped right now. I don't think they have anything on the books. Yeah, nothing. They did one. They were supposed to have one on the 22nd in Japan. That got canceled. So.
And what does the coronavirus have to do with that? Anything?
Yeah, coronavirus was in Japan at the time, I believe, and it was a pretty big there. So I think Japan's like let me see. I think there's like a whole travel ban and stuff.
You know, we've talked about this before, and like more people have died from the flu, man. I don't know. I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. I get you don't want disease spreading, but you can go in anywhere and get a free flu shot.
It just seems like one of those viruses though that like passes so like it could just keep passing. Like it's one of those ones like I don't know. I don't think you're doing enough coronavirus research.
I'm not doing a whole lot of coronavirus research. I'm not.
I think just sharing the memes that people share about the flu on the.
Kills. I'm sure it can, depending on your immune system and whatnot, you can die a lot faster than you would from the flu. But how how transferable is it? And yeah, is it as infectious as the flu? Or is it worse?
I want to say it's worse.
When I say how contagious, I'm sorry, not infectious, but contagious. Is it as contagious as the flu?
I think it's way worse. I think it's like.
But like the flu, just a couple months ago, or the flu and pneumonia was going around like fucking hotcakes.
Yeah, but that's something you can beat without like going to the doctor. You can beat the flu like without going like people beat it without going to the doctor. They just have a rough couple of weeks. You can just have a rough couple of weeks and shake it. Whew, fuck, that was a dark time for me. I beat that, but all right. Hopefully, I don't catch it for another year or two.
People beating the coronavirus?
People ain't beating it. I was trying to find videos last night of people that had it just to see like what they look like, and it seems like a real fast decline. And then also there was a talk today that China, through their WeChat app, was just like deleting any like it was like 5 or 6 keywords. Yeah, so people were trying to communicate about it, and it's just so like I guess some reporters did some like I guess they got some test phones and they were sending each other messages, and the messages weren't getting there. Like pieces were just cut out. All different ways of saying coronavirus, and there's another name for the coronavirus, I believe. It's like West China. It's coronavirus.
West China sticky flu.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. That's exactly what it was. Took that right off the tip of my mind. It was some other name, but there was WeChat was blocking it, which is like there's so many people trying to talk about it and try to tell each other about like maybe ways to be safe for something. It's just, hey, watch out for. You should really look out for. It's like nothing. What?
And then people just start dying because the government doesn't want them to talk about it. Anyway, we're not going to get into that because we don't talk about politics on this show.
No, it's not a political show. It's a non-poly show. No poly MMA show here. So also, but yeah, no, crazy. Back to UFC 248. There's actually some other pretty good fights on there, or a couple pieces to mention on the prelim cards. Sean O'Malley's making his comeback.
Known as.
Yeah, so there's actually a bunch of undefeated fighters on this card, which I like. I miss the days of the undefeated fighters fighting on this card. You have four of them to be exact. You got the 18-0 Israel Adesanya. You got the 10-0 Sean O'Malley, the 9-0 Mark Madsen and the 6-0 Rodolfo Vieira. Yeah. So, maybe an O will go. I don't know. Just gotta
I'm
wait till
pretty
the
sure
show,
that-
and then when
that
they
is-
go, we'll see if the O will live or no.
Okay.
So, my status pro quo was, all right, I'm just gonna go, ruining the show. Whoa,
Oh.
bitch ass hoe, bitch ass hoe. Yeah,
Okay.
my bad. I want to cut that out of the show.
There are some good fights on this card. I like the opener for the ESPN prelims with Gerald Mershaw
Yep.
and Darren Wynn. I like that fight.
I like Deron Wynn. He's a. I fell down a rabbit hole of watching some of his freestyle wrestling matches. I believe he was like NAIA or Division 2. He's not a D1 dude, but I watched him. He destroyed Jaden Cox in freestyle wrestling. You know who Jaden is? Jaden won the world championship last year in freestyle wrestling. Came in third for the U.S. in the Olympics in the last Summer Olympics, and then 3-time NCAA champion. And there's this video. I believe he texts him. It's 10-1 with like a 20 seconds left. Deron win over Jaden Cox. And Deron is like 5'7", 5'8". He's a thick dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
He can wrestle. Can really wrestle. Looks like a smaller Cormier. Lighter weight Cormier.
Okay.
Smaller.
Cormier's not small.
Proportionally, I scaled him down a little bit.
Like that one guy that's on Cormier's team who fought on the Golden Boy MMA
That's
promotion.
the same person.
Oh shoot, that's Darren. Okay, that's right.
That's the exact same person.
I just saw an interview with him and he looks so different.
That's the same person I was talking about. The guy that
Yeah.
fought for Golden Boy, the
That's
next
right.
premier
Okay.
mixed martial arts league,
Yeah.
popping off. Thank you, Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz got his win back too, but somehow.
Got his win. Oh, you mean over the wrestler?
Yeah, it turned to a no contest, and then like a couple days later, it's now back a win.
I'm sure Tito fought for that. I don't think that just happened. But c'est la vie.
Yeah, Deron win though.
I don't know how I forgot that. I do remember now. Now everything's coming together because the only reason I watched that fight was I don't even know why I watched that fight. Did we watch that together? Was that a pay-per-view?
I think it was a pay-per-view.
We had to watch that together because I wasn't paying for that to watch it by myself. That's for sure.
I think I paid for it.
That's why we watched it together.
For the Tito Ortiz the factor that we didn't go right now.
No, we didn't go to it.
No, that was probably somewhere like on the edge of Mexico or something.
Yeah. Oh well. So those things are good. Prelims, I don't really. Emily Whitmire, that's the only name that's really familiar to me. That's crazy. It's so crazy with the UFC now. I like it that there's so many people on the roster. I remember when there was like less than 100 people on the roster, but Wes Sims was also on the roster back then. It's a different time.
Good old Wes Sims. I know Wes Sims.
He was just an athletic basketball player that was tough.
Big,
yeah.
big guy.
He had that rivalry with Frank Mir. That's funny. What Wes Sims is doing now.
What is Wes Sims doing right now?
Yeah.
He fought like 3.5 years ago. Got a combined record of 24 and 15. Let's see. Wes Sims Twitter. Let's just take a peek. Let's see what he's up to right now.
Hacking the cameras in his house.
What's that?
I said hacking through the cameras in his house. Oh yeah, Pollyanna Viana and Emily Whitten. That's
Actually, I think Instagram is going to be the best place to really see what he's really up to. Interesting posts.
yeah. I was just looking at your eyes, and you're like, this looks interesting.
It looks like he's teaching.
So
I want to say he's teaching.
not teaching martial arts, teaching school.
Does he teach martial arts? He's in the gym. He doesn't post a whole lot. He last posted 19 weeks ago.
Not hating.
No. Sometimes you gotta get out there.
Yeah. Not everybody's on Instagram. Or cares about Instagram like that.
Not me.
So it's all to the good.
Yeah, that's what Wes Sims is up to. So yeah, not too much else going on. Kind of a light week. Not a lot of
UFC dominate the weekend, fight weekend. I don't think anything else is going on. Invictus going on on Friday night.
Yeah, there's no Bellator. There's no Glory Kickboxing. There's no One Championship. There is no PFL. There is no. There's no LXF is next weekend. Sean Merriman's brand. That's on the 13th. So I think ESPN MMA event schedule. It seems like I'm sure there's probably a pretty good local bout in your area if you guys are looking for something to do.
But
LFA is in there's nothing on. There's a fight in Manchester between Cartwright and Billick, CW 112. Don't miss that one. Yeah.
So we
free weekend for them.
Free weekend for them. Look forward to the next UFC event, which is Lee versus Oliveira.
Yep.
That's a week later, and we'll talk about that one on the next show. We'll also talk about the Pitbull Carvalho Bellator on the 13th.
Yep.
So there'll be some fun fights coming up, and we want to know, one question we have for some of our viewers is, what up and comers are you guys looking at? Who's an up and comer you think is going to make it to the big show really soon? And bring it to us, and we will give you our assessment on those guys. We will let you know what we think about their wrestling, their striking, their ground game, and how soon we could see them in one of the big shows.
Give them the yay, nay, or go away.
There we go. That's the name of the segment. Yay, nay, or go away. Send us. We're going to take how many? How many of them we're going to take? We're going to take a couple fighters. You tell us who they are, and we're going to tell you yay. We're going to take a yay. We're going to take a nay. And we're going to take a go away.
Yeah, get the hell out of here with that guy. Does he have a college degree? Perfect. Oh my God! Thank God. Really? Whew. He's got a fallback plan. Oh, good. All right. Hobbyist fighter. He's a hobbyist fighter. Perfect. He should probably stop. New hobby. New everything. No more fighting. You don't need it. Or damn, that guy's good. But yeah, he's already discovered. So find someone that's not discovered.
Yeah.
Give us the new guy.
I love the segment.
Trying to start a sports agency.
We can handle it. Well, I know you got some Pluto stuff to do.
I got Pluto stuff to do. I got to put away my coronavirus supply kit. I got 69 items I got to put away.
And one of them was Captain Crunch.
Yeah. I got Captain Crunch, and I got pea protein milk.
Oh, it's like, what is that? But yeah, pea protein. Okay.
It's good. It's really good.
That's weird. I'm not a big fan of these alternative. I'm not a big fan of milk, first of all, but I'm also not a big fan of these alternative milks alone. Like
Oh, like
almond
to drink a
almond
glass
and
of pea milk
cereal.
just by
I,
itself?
I don't like almond milk and and the cereal. Um,
Mm.
Things like that. I mean, I'll if I really want some cereal, I will throw some almond milk in there.
Yep.
But it's different from when I was a kid and drinking that cow garbage. But yeah,
Cabbage.
I don't know. Different now. What do we really know about anything, right? Every couple of years, the knowledge that we supposedly had is like changed, especially about food. It's so messed up. Oh, I have a question. This is kind of political, so I may end with this one. You know, like how when someone says I was watching Equalizer a couple days
Oh,
ago
nice.
with Denzel Washington version, not the TV show from the 80s. Um, but we think about the Russian military and the Russian mob, and they're kind of intertwined, right? At least in our minds, to some degree. That's not an outrageous thing to believe, right?
Yep.
About the American military and the mob.
Mm.
Like, do you think they have any ties? They just keep it more.
There's got to be some tie in there, right?
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Like
E-
every military's got to be tied to the mob.
Even if it's an unofficial tie, right?
Yeah, they're all unofficial.
Yeah, even if it's oh yeah, Jimmy Colombo. Yeah.
Jimmy Colombo from Regiment
Yeah.
from Battalion 52.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyway,
Most out of shape guy in the military. Like, how's that guy not running too? Like, how did he get a velour tracksuit military camouflage like get up like
and someone to carry his gear.
yeah. Where did he get today's paper from? We're in Afghanistan. It's like how did he get the New York Times? Yeah, that's
Like cannoli.
that's how it is. Yeah. Walk
42nd
around in slippers. Yeah. Just
That's good.
yeah.
It's probably true.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Gotta be.
All,
Alright.
all of our mafia people watching, please don't kill us.
Please don't.
Yeah. I got too much stuff I gotta do.
And I like living.
Yep, it's fun. Word. Well, good stuff. Doug Jitsu Master and Squid Show. Midweek edition covering UFC 248. We're out.